Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes for the Wheel of Time TV show on Amazon Prime Video. This one is going to be for episode 5 of the first season of the Wheel of Time show. I'm Tom, I'm from Dragonmount, and let's get right into it. So my first hot take is going to be rituals and a little bit of Lan and Moiraine. In the beginning of this episode, there is a ritual for the burying of the dead from the battle in the previous episode. Now, in the previous episode, Logain's Dragonsworn attack the Aes Sedai camp, and a lot of people are killed. Warders, for sure, and Karen Aes Sedai of the Green Aja, as well as most, if not all, of Logain's Dragonsworn. We see the Warders and the Aes Sedai taking equal care to bury their dead, as in the Dragonsworn, as well as their own dead, if any of the camp followers, Warders, had died, but most poignantly, Karen Aes Sedai. Stepan carries her into her grave. They're all covered with white cloths, and Moiraine says the words, "May the last embrace of the Earth Mother welcome you home." That is something us Wheel of Time book readers know as a burial ritual from the Borderlands. There's a particular moment in this scene when Lan and Moiraine share a look. Daniel Henney and Rosamund's faces, they're very somber and serious in this moment. Lan still has blood on his neck from when his neck was slit open and he almost died. Moiraine also sustained what would have probably been a fatal blow had it not been for Nynaeve's healing. Now in this moment it looks like they're, this could have been us, or this could have been one of us, if not both of us. They probably felt through the bond themselves dying and slipping away in mere moments from death before Nynaeve saved them. And that was probably something, something that people as close as Lan and Moiraine, personally would have been terrified and very afraid and sad to feel. But the fact that they're bonded with the one power, can only imagine how that felt. Both of them simultaneously almost dying and feeling that through the bond was probably just too much. I can't put into words what that would have felt like. Though this isn't the only funeral ritual that we see in this episode. Sadly, Karene's warder, Stepan, takes his own life later in the episode. This is a byproduct of the bond being broken in such a way. The bond, as I mentioned earlier, is something, for our non-book readers, something that is a actual spell, or what we call in the Wheel of Time weaves. It is a magical weave, or a weave of the one power that is placed on the Aes Sedai and the warder, and it bonds them. It makes a actual connection, a tangible connection between the two. They can do things like sense where each other are across large spans, at least the direction that they're in. If they're very, very far apart, they could be like they're that way. Maybe not know exactly where they are, but in a sense of direction. Then when they get closer, they can actually pinpoint. I know exactly where they are. They can also sense each other's emotions, feel things that the other feels through the bond. So speaking of the Aes Sedai, that brings me to hot take number 2, and that is the Aes Sedai's hometown of Tar Valon. So Tar Valon looks amazing. The city streets are exactly as I picture city streets in the books. The non-main thoroughfares are like these small, cramped streets that are mainly for walking and foot traffic. They're just wide enough for a few people to pass each other. There's just these towering stone buildings on either side. You can still feel the sheer size of the city from the size of the buildings and the way the people are moving around in the city. They do a great job here. It's great. Speaking of the streets, a little tidbit here. Did anyone notice Pat and Fane? Particularly when Matt and Rand are going into the inn, you hear his whistling. And now if you go back, I'm sure you could pick out his whistling in many other poignant scenes throughout the prior episodes. particularly in Shadar Logoth. Go back and let me know in the comments if you could find those. But here we hear his whistling, and even in the foreground of the shot, just as Matt and Perrin go into the inn, in the foreground of the shot, you could see his hands are crossed, he uncrosses them, and then walks out of this shot. 100% Pat and Fane. I can't wait to see what they're doing with him. The White Tower also, oh my god, it's like perfect. It's perfectly how I imagined. I know a lot of people don't like it because they think it looks small, but think about it like this. In the scene where you get the aerial shot of Tar Valon and you can see the White Tower in the center there, just pause it for a second and look around at the scape and try to pick something out that you could tell its relative size. I picked out a tree. So the trees that are lining these city streets here can't be that big. Like they're probably between 20 and 25 feet, which is still pretty big for a person. So 25 feet, just picture that in your mind. Look at one of those trees, think that they're maybe between 20 and 30, we'll say, feet tall. And then look at the White Tower. They're tiny green specks next to the tower. The tower's width and height is humongous. And you could tell also that the tower, it's built on what looks like a natural stony like mountain or ledge or hill in the center of the city here, and the city kind of flows out from it. So that means the tower probably does go underground as well, is going up. And it is hugely tall, and it is immensely wide, and it probably goes down into the underground as well. So it is huge. A lot of people are saying it doesn't look big. It is massive, as depicted on the screen there. It might not look big in the way that we're seeing it, like the way the camera is there, but if you take a second and really look, you can see how big it is. But that leads me into the next one, which is the Whitecloaks. Again, yes. The Whitecloaks are just, they're insane. They are awesome in this show. Awesomely terrible. Amazon Prime Video is doing a fantastic job of making us hate them. I mean, they're not any better in the books, but you don't really know how terrible they are this early on. It takes a couple of books later to really fully understand the depth of their depravity in the series. The way that they handle Egwene, what they do to Perrin, there's just a lot to hate about the Whitecloaks, specifically the Questioners, and one Questioner in particular. You will get tired of hearing me say this if you're not already, but Abdul Salis is amazing. Every time he is on screen is absolutely fantastic. He is just, he is a presence. He's terrible, like horrible. An amazing actor, but his character is just horrible, terrible. It's just, you want to hate him. You want him to die immediately. Okay, my next hot take is going to be a little different here. It's part of the actual episode recap. I want to go back to the episode recap here and just mention Perrin. I mentioned a theory that I had liked in one of my last lives that I did on the Saturday recaps. Go check those out, by the way. Which was that Layla is a dark friend, and that was why she had her hammer over her head, and she looked like that she might have been getting ready to attack Perrin in the scene just before he kills her in the first episode. That theory was shot down by not just the actress herself who played Layla, Helena Westerman. She posted on Twitter, "Can confirm, not a dark friend, just really good at decimating Trolloc." It was also doubly confirmed by What on Prime's resident book nerd, Sarah Nakamura. Though, that still goes in line with my addendum to that theory. Originally, before I saw this post, I thought you can see in Perrin's eyes in this particular recap, if you watch this recap a couple of times, he's surprised that he's even swinging the axe. You can see a look of surprise on his face even as he's swinging the axe behind him. And he gets like a little bit of an extra spicy surprise look on his face as the axe hits Layla. So it's even the axe swinging is a surprise to him, which says to me that subconsciously he swung that axe. He didn't consciously hear something behind him and swing the axe. He just started swinging the axe before he even knew what he was doing. And we know that Tevarin nature is to do things like that. They'll do things without even knowing they're doing them until they've already done them. And I think in this particular scene, we're seeing how cold the pattern could be. The pattern needs Perrin to leave the Two Rivers. If Layla survives this battle, he has no real reason to leave. He might even want to stay to protect her. So the pattern needs her to die and needs him to have a reason to leave, and this is a perfect one. I'm not saying that that is the thing, but it could be here, and it does look like this would be an opportunity for the show to really show the cold nature of the pattern, at the same time how it can twist events to force these characters to do the things they probably don't want to do. Okay, and that brings me to my last hot take. Not particularly in a flow, but we've had some pretty dark hot takes thus far, and I really want to end on a happier one. And that is Thom DeSimone, who is the actor who plays Loial. Oh my God. I love him, I love Loial, and I really don't need to say any more than that, but I will. The way he speaks, just the tone of his voice and how he speaks in the show is amazing. I mean, it's hard to beat Michael Whalen's depiction of Loial from the books, but this is real good, like real close. I really enjoy his voice. I also just enjoy the way he forms his sentences and the way he says things. This Hamed's just performance is spot on for Loial. It's great. The way he talks about Rand and the humans and how they are just so hasty, and it seems like he wants to like protect them, and then at the same time he wants to understand like this cute little way that they go about the world because they're so quaint. Like it's great. I just love the way he speaks. It's wonderful. We know because of Mr. Judkin's AMA that they used entirely practical effects for Loial here, strictly and simply for budgetary reasons. To have an entire CG character or even a partial CG character here is just not in their budget. He wanted more Loial on camera with practical effects than the less Loial we would have got with a full CG character. I'm fully for the more practical effects with more Loial, though I do hope they give those particular practical effects a little bit more attention to detail in the later seasons. Well, that's all of the hot takes I have for you today. Make sure to check out Dragonmount.com for all of our content that's coming out. We have our podcasts. We have my lives on Saturday. Make sure to come join me. Make sure to check out our podcast also that we post on the YouTube channel, but you can find it on Dragonmount.com as well. I want to thank Tor as well for being our sponsor, and all of you beautiful folks who sponsor us on Patreon. If you haven't and you want to check it out, go check out our Patreon. We offer a lot of fun things on there. All right, until next time.
And that's our show. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, remember to subscribe, like this video, and hit the thumbs up. Also, please leave us a comment. We love positive comments. Also, do you have any friends that are interested in the Wheel of Time? I mean, you probably do. Let them know about us. We would love to share information with more people. More Wheel of Time, the more better. Also, we would love to thank our amazing Patreon community and our sponsor, Tor Books. Thank you so much for the support. We couldn't do any of this without you. Also, follow us on Dragonmount. And as always, my name is Kitty. This is the Wheel of Time Community Show. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.